Thank you, Brian. That was beautiful. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. As you are welcome here. Visitor, friend, or longtime member, you are welcome here. With little children or alone, or your partner, we joyfully welcome you here. You are welcome as believer or doubter, as joiner or loner, you are welcome here. Feeling a part of us or not, full of energy or not, cold or not, seeking a vision or a rest, you are welcome to join us as you are. We acknowledge that we are in the Aboriginal territories of the Salish, New Pierce, Blackfeet, and Anishinaabe people who shared the Helena Valley as hunting grounds. The indigenous story of the Helena Valley began long before the arrival of Europeans. We honor those who walked here before us. We honor the path that they have shown us in caring for this place for generations to come. We strive for justice and fair relations with their descendants. Good morning, everyone. My name is Nicky, if I don't know you, and I'm excited to have been supported by Marianne this week in preparing the all of the supporting things that happen when you do a service. I offered up a friend, a new friend that's visiting me, Brian Lottman. He'll be sharing a message today. But I wanted to give a special thanks to Marianne because she really did everything else. Please refer to your chalice lighting sheet as we are saying it differently. If you'll turn to number 600 in Singing the Living Tradition, we will speak together about the space within. And it's 660. Oh, darn it. Because I liked 600 too. No, it's okay. My eyes. Oh, to live deliberately. I'm gonna read 600 just because I liked it. I wanna share it with you. I'm gonna share with you the space within, and then we'll read 660 together. 30 spokes share the wheel's hub. It is the center hole that makes it useful. Shape clay into a vessel. It is the space within that makes it useful. Cut doors and windows for a room. It is the holes that make it useful. Therefore, profit comes from what is there, usefulness from what is not there. Oh. To live deliberately. I will read the bold and you reply with the italicized. Please, 660, to live deliberately. Why should we live in such a hurry and waste of life? We are determined to be starved before we are hungry. I wish to live deliberately to front only the essential facts of life. I wish to learn what life has to teach and not, when I come to die, discover that I have not lived. I do not wish to live what is not life. Living is so dear. Nor do I wish to practice resignation unless it is quite necessary. I wish to live deep and suck out all the marrow of life. I want to cut a broad swath, to drive life into a corner and reduce it to its lowest terms. If it proves to be mean, then to get the whole and genuine meanness of it and publish its meanness to the world. Or it is sublime to know it by experience and to be able to give a true account of it. Thank you. Joys and concerns, a time to share private joys and concerns will occur after the streaming has concluded.
Most of you know I drive from Butte on Sunday mornings. I was coming across Elk Park, and if you don't know what that is, it's a huge open area before you drop into the Valley of Butte. And as I was driving off to my right, I saw a white spot. And I went, ooh, nothing's quite that white. And I watched in my rearview mirror, and it was a bald eagle. And so it must be my lucky day.
I just want to say, if you missed last night, Katie Knight came to the Holter and gave a talk on Jesse Wilbur and Frances Senska, who are both artists in the permanent collections at the Holter, and she did a fabulous job, and we had 62 people there, and it was a great evening, and just the right, as the kids say, vibe. So I'm very thankful that Katie accepted my request for her to talk. So.
Can I ask a question? I know I had company last night, so I just wanted to know if it was recorded, because I had Jesse and Francis way back in the 60s going to college, and I took courses from them then. It wasn't recorded?
Part of it was, yeah.
So I can maybe talk to you?
Yes, it'll eventually get onto our YouTube channel, but it takes us some time to make that.
I have a joy that not only was I able to bring Brian with me today, but also Anita, who, as many of you know, I bring my Airbnb guests when I can. Anita was at the Rocking Z Ranch for a week, and she stayed with us before when I was very sick and having all kinds of things happening. Anita is such a dear spirit, and I'm so grateful that she wanted to join today too. So if you have a chance to chat with her after, this is Anita. Anybody else? We will hold those concerns in our hearts for those that were unspoken. And now it's time for the offering, right? Yeah. If you're visiting, please remain our guest. Your presence is your gift to us. And there's no kids here, so Mary. Well, this rarely ever happens. In fact, I can't even remember the last time that it did happen, but I'm taking it as a sign from the universe that we have lots of extra time for Brian's message and some music at the end of his message. He'll lead us in mantra. And so because there are no kids here, I'll save my story about meditation train station for another time, and we'll just have extra time for Brian. So without further ado, it's time.
Hello, hello, welcome, namaste. So, first of all, Nicky, thank you for having me. I have come a long way to see you. As I would joke, thousands of miles to come see you. At least over the past 12 years, driving through the US and Canada, sharing talks and gatherings, and finally, after 12 years of kind of so-called homelessness or living without a home, here I am in Helena. So I didn't even know that Helena existed until just a couple months ago. I found it on the map. I said, this looks like a good town to go to. I wonder who would be interested in spiritual things. And then I contacted Nicky and said, oh, Nicky's interested in spiritual things. So that's kind of how I got here. My name is Brian, and I'm a wandering monk. I have been now traveling for 12 years from city to city and sharing a kind of spiritual message. And this was all based on the inspiration of my teacher, whose name is Swami Purna. He hails from the high Himalayas and a great yogi. You could call it the yogi of yogis. Yogi is just someone, who has mastered himself or herself, mastered his mind, no longer is subject to the suffering of the mind and emotions, is sort of free, like a free spirit in a way. A very extraordinary being. And so I met him in 2008. He came from the Himalayas to New York City to hold a spiritual retreat. And I flew from Los Angeles to New York City to meet him and to be in retreat for about 3 days. And I had a profound experience with him. When you hang out with someone, whatever vibration they have, they rub off on you. So if the person's really negative, depressed, or whatever, you can feel it. You get affected by people's vibration. We all know this. And at the same time, if you meet someone who's very pure and loving and joyous, you get affected by that as well. So when I was around him the first time, before I even saw him coming through the door of that retreat, I was crying. I was so moved. He didn't need to say anything. It was just the energy, the presence. One could call it as the Holy Spirit, if you want to call it that. Whatever your term is, the vibration was in the air, and it really struck me to the heart. I had never encountered such a love before in my life, such a presence of love. And I had visited many great saints and yogis and great spiritual masters for the past couple of years, made a huge effort to go drive or fly to them and be in their energy and presence. And this was something you cannot speak of in words. It's too deep. You have to feel it yourself. So I said, well, I guess this is my teacher. I'm very excited about this. And so the first things he advised to do were actually really simple and, not real complicated. Chanting mantras. Mantras are power words. When you speak them, they have an energy about them. They're programmed with this, I don't know if you want to call it a transcendent power. So when you speak the words, they send you into a spiritual state. So I said, okay, I'm going to start practicing some of the power words, the mantras that he gave me. And I did that for 4 years. I did some of that, and some of the breath practice, some of the guided meditations and things like that. And it was really helping me. I was really feeling more peaceful, more meditative, more loving, more full of joy. And then I wondered to myself, well, he's given people guidance, like specific guidance before. I wonder if I will get guidance. And then, lo and behold, in 2012, I went to a retreat with him in Miami, Florida. And, oh, that's probably him. Did you hear that? Yeah. So, and he invited me into his space during that retreat and spoke to me for 3 minutes. And in that 3-minute talk, he said, Brian, now it's time for you to renounce everything, leave everything behind, and set out on the road and share this spiritual energy or this spiritual presence with others. He uses the word satsang. You heard the word before? Some people are not even heard it. Great. Satsang, association with higher truth, association with spiritual energy. And, at that time I was running a financial planning firm and very, very comfortable, had achieved what you might call the American dream. Easy street, so to speak, if you know that word, that term. And I left all of it. I went back home to Austin, Texas, sold my business, sold my car, gave away all my nice business clothes. There's some nice clothes. I bought a van, put a bed in the van, and then just set out into the sunset. Did you ever see that show, Kung Fu? You have some Kwai Chang Kang? Yeah, like that, going into the sunset and wandering from place to place. In India, they call it a wandering sadhu. A wandering sadhu. The word sadhu in Sanskrit just means one who has dedicated himself or herself to finding God. That's it. Their only purpose is to find God. That's it. And so that's my purpose, and to share that energy with others. So I went home, and it was funny. This is kind of a funny little story. I knew I didn't need my stuff anymore, and I wondered, what am I going to do with all of it? And there was a guy who was a really good friend of mine, also very spiritual, who was homeless, lived underneath a bridge in Austin, Texas, and I would oftentimes invite him to stay at my apartment when it was really cold outside. And so I invited him to come over and stay for the night, and then I surprised him with this news. I'm leaving everything. And I said, and you see all this stuff in the apartment? I don't need anything anymore. So I said, look around and ask for anything you want. And he looked at me, kind of surprised. Really? Yeah, anything you want, it's yours. So he looks around, and I had this really nice Spanish guitar. And I used to play a lot of guitar, practice for years really seriously, like the simple kind of acoustic guitar. And he looked at the guitar and he said, well, what are you going to do with that? I said, it's yours. And he took that. And so bit by bit, I kind of divested myself of everything, and then got the van, and I set out on the road, and I named that van Persistence. Now, persistence ended up breaking down 11 times before actually leaving the Austin, Texas area. Wow, wow, this is already kind of difficult. But I said, I'm going to keep going. So I had persistence repaired over and over again. Finally, I set out on my way, and, doing talks like these, but also, and I consider even more importantly than the talks, is the gatherings. Because the gathering usually is about an hour and a half, and it's like an immersion in the spiritual energy. It's all about experience. Not about really trying to figure out theology or religion or even trying to understand spiritual tradition. It's more about feeling an inner presence, a real life experience. Because since I've had that, I thought, oh, there must be others who are searching for the same thing. And what do I mean by experience? Asks Brian to Brian. Experience means when you sit in the energy of satsang, you start to meditate on it, on the presence, and there's this feeling of upliftment. Like somehow the presence pushes you into a higher state of consciousness. And maybe for lack of a better word, you start to feel intoxicated with this presence. And people might say, wonder if you're drunk or whatever, but no, you're just feeling spiritual energy. And if a person hasn't felt spiritual energy before, it's very, very hard to explain that concept. But to me, it's the it factor. That's the word, right? It factor. It's the key to eternal happiness. When you are floating in that state, things don't bother you so much anymore. Even the hard knocks of life, you kind of float above it because you're in this meditative state. So, that's kind of how I've been feeling since 2007. That shift of consciousness that never stopped. So in other words, it's not just a spiritual high. When people smoke pot or they drink alcohol or something, they get that high. How long does that last? Not long. This is a permanent high, and no drugs are required. That's what I was looking for, because you know this very well. You've tried all the sweets of the world, all the things, the pleasures of the world to try to, uplift your spirits and whatever, do this, do that, go here, go there. And it may last for a little while, but then you go back to your default, whatever that is. A lot of people experience depression, sadness, boredom. Boredom is a big one. That's why we tend to try to distract ourselves from boredom. But what if the spiritual presence that was illuminating your being was so strong that you never got bored? You could literally sit in your closet and enjoy the presence within you and never feel bored. You wouldn't need to go anywhere or seek out anyone. You wouldn't be lonely anymore. This is all completely possible through a deeper connection with this spiritual energy. And this has been happening through the gatherings that I've been holding. So many people over the past 12 years have written me back or, given me feedback around their experience. And They feel like they're, all kinds of things. They're floating. Their heart feels like it's beaming. So peaceful in even difficult circumstances. The joy is just, they're laughing and playing like a kid, just a feeling of a new life. And so that's important, because if a person's not feeling experienced, they're not going to really have much motivation to keep doing their spiritual practice, because that's the key. It's like taking vitamins. You need vitamins and minerals and all that in order to keep the body nourished. Similarly, you need spiritual food to keep uplifting yourself, to come closer and closer to what I would call as soul consciousness. Soul consciousness means it's like the very stillness of your being that is unaffected by the outside world. You can live in that, and that is what I'm interested in. That's what my life is all about. And so my wish is that maybe when people come to gatherings, they can take some of the, what I call, you can call it, I'm just making this up, but the nuggets, the gold nuggets or the jewels. So let's say some of the mantras, the power words that I'm sharing. If you feel something, you can take some of those words home and use them for your own daily spiritual nourishment. And we were talking about this. If you have a consistent practice every day, you develop a discipline. We talk also compared to going to the gym. You get a spiritual muscle, and the energy is definitely cumulative. So when you invoke it through the power word, you feel the energy, it strikes you, it meditates you a little bit, it builds in your system. The next day you try it again, it's like igniting more and more light in your system. And bit by bit, you begin to enter into higher dimensions of reality. And then you may wonder, well, then what's the sort of final purpose of all this? In that space of soul consciousness, there is a recognition, a knowing, I'm saying a direct experience that all is one and one is all. Or another way to say it is, I am that I am. So wherever you gaze, whoever you meet, wherever you go, there's this oneness principle that has ignited you. And you realize, that's me, that's me, that's me, that's me. The sounds, the music is me. The smells are me. There is only one. And this is something that pretty much all religious and spiritual traditions are trying to point to, is the oneness principle and the way to get there. The way to get there. And so, I kind of go back to the idea of following the training of a master, which is kind of what I found. I found this great yogi from the Himalayas that really struck me to the heart. Kind of like learning from such a being, and they don't need to say anything. That oneness principle just kind of rubs off on me, and then I start to feel it too. It's catchable. It's catchable. Yeah. And then through living in that oneness principle, you feel no more fear, no more insecurity, no worry, no concern. You are completely at peace, resting in your own soul. Now, how many people really talk about this? In fact, I think that a lot of our society is bent upon remaining in worry consciousness. I mean, the reason why I say this is because when you turn on the news, you can see for yourself. And the fact that many people, when they turn on the news, they're absorbing that consciousness into their system, and then they become worried themselves. That's how things rub off on you. So I said, well, there's an answer for me then. I'm going to, instead of spending time associating with the fearful, worried energy, I'm going to spend my time sitting in the presence and energy of a true master and get absorbed into that. So again, it's a big choice what direction you want to go. You could go towards drama, fear, worry, consciousness. I'm just kind of symbolizing it by turning on the news, because it's just a symbol. It doesn't have to be news. It could be anything. Or you could choose to head towards the light, into the light. And you know when there's light. You know intuitively what direction to go. And your soul is beckoning you to come back home. Your greatest pain is not your body pain. It's not your emotional pain, not your mental suffering. None of that compares to the pain of your own soul, wanting you to return back to, if you want to call it, your source, that from where you came from. Been wandering around so long in the madness of this crazy mind. When do you turn back to the light? And as I said, you know. And every day we have a choice about what direction to go. And maybe that's the most important choice. I mean, and maybe that's also why I was brought here to hold these gatherings in Helena, so people could kind of connect into a mystical path. And maybe that's something for you. Maybe you hadn't really deeply considered something like this. And so this will give you kind of like a taste and a new possibility, something new. I mean, Nicky's very bold. It's like, let's have something new. I feel like a lot of times what I share might be a little bit radical for some people, and they wouldn't want me to talk. That's fine. But there are people out there that are looking for, because the mystical path is so mysterious. You don't understand it, but you sense that presence. It's there. All you have to do is just become quiet. Stop talking. Be still. And then you know. So I just wanted to share with you one mantra on the harmonium. I do, yeah. And I really wanted to get people to actually sense it through. So it's going to be kind of a musical thing and a meditation at the same time. To me, way more important than what I'm saying. Okay, I'll repeat that. The experience of presence is far more important than any information or words that I might say. The experience will completely transform and take you in a different direction. Words can be flat, because you can hear words and it really won't sink in. But the sense of it, it could send you to the stars, the moon, the stars, into another place that you never expected. So I'll speak the mantra. So this mantra I'm going to chant with you. They're very, very simple. I try to make it super simple, because otherwise you were pretending to mouth the words and they're not singing with me. It's important to sing with me to get the sense of it. I love it when people sing together too. Yeah. Are you all good? Turn you into a chorus. The words Hari Om. Hari Om. People know the word Om. Om is the primal sound of the universe. You want to say it? Hari is just another word for the soul, if you want to call it that, the soul. Hari. So technically, Hari Om means hurry home. Go back to your real home. You may think this body in this world is your home, but it's very, very temporary. It could end tomorrow. Body could go, this world could go. So where is your real home? Think about that. And the mantra helps a person to really move in that direction and feel that. So I'm going to go over here. Hopefully you can hear me. You want to? And again, I would love to hear your lovely voices. One time I sang with a group of like 50 people in a church, and I was joking that my voice was louder than all 50 of them put together. So I was joking. So this is Hari Om, and you feel free if you want to harmonize that. I kind of encourage that.
He likes harmonizing. I can't do that, but I know some of you can.
I used to be a part of a barbershop chorus. You're familiar with barbershop harmony? Barbershop harmony. I used to be part of that. No longer. I don't think I can qualify to be in a chorus. But I do love harmony nevertheless. Okay, and so you can sing with me. Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Hari Om, 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 Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Hari deeper connection with the mantra is through breath. So right now we're just going to take in 11 deep breaths in and out through the nose, and I'll kind of guide it. So taking in a deep breath, imagining you're breathing in light. Another deep breath in. Inhale. Deep breath in. Breathing in the lights. Taking a deep breath in. Inhale. Breathing in as deep as you can. Inhale slowly. And exhale. Breathing in the light. And one last deep breath in. And release. And we relax here just for a moment and try to sense the light within. Sense it in all the cells of your body. Imagine as the light fills your body, that your body is healing, becoming whole again, free of all pain and hurt and discomfort. So full of this pure light. And then just feel the meditation. Drawing you into the silence of your own being. meditations continue to deepen day by day, that you may reside permanently within the stillness of your own soul. And so it is. And so it will be.
Thank you, Brian. Namaste. Miriam, what time is it? Okay, this is perfect timing. Brian, if you want to stay here in a second, and I'll set this up for you. We are a talkative and intellectual bunch. We like to ask questions and reflect. So we have time for reflections. I'll pass the mic and then I'll bring it up to you. Okay?
Or if you could use your projecting voice.
Your diaphragmatic voice for the answers.
I'm sorry we don't have two mics today.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. Would anyone like to reflect or inquire?
Well, it's taking me a minute to get out of it. But thank you. I haven't been in that state for a long time, and hopefully it'll help me resolve to get back into a practice. I'm very good about the gym, but I'm not very good about the meditation. So, yeah, I'll combine them and make one practice flow into the other. But thank you very much.
Practice is the most important. It really is like going to the gym. And I'm sharing jewels in terms of like the different practices that are empowered and make practice way easier. And that's the point. Because if a person doesn't have a truly genuine spiritual practice to support them, it's way harder. You could try to sit in meditation, but it could be a struggle and people can give up really easily. So practices are like empowered practices are so helpful. So that's
Thank you. That was wonderful. I came across research that put people into two groups, and one group went to the gym and the other meditated, and they had the same beneficial effects.
Imagine if you did both.
Do you have a response to that? Sure.
Physical exercises and spiritual work definitely have different effects as well. You can have a person who's very much in shape and their body is radiant and powerful, and yet disconnected from their soul. So it's so important to kind of have both. So true. Yeah.
But we didn't hear what you said.
That's okay. It's a private conversation. Some of these are private conversations.
Hi, I'm kind of curious if there was any recordings or anything with even with that instrument, with the chants that we could.
I record all my networks, yeah. I put them all on Patreon, and so they're all recorded. Plus, I have albums as well, so you can download them. Yes. Albums on my website. You can go there.
And are you coming tonight at 4? Okay, so yeah.
You can download the albums. The albums are really helpful too, because then you got the music going. It's like a lot of people forget about spiritual practice and get really caught in like just daily tasks and things like that. And that's why I'm recommending having spiritual music going on in the background. And that's why I created the albums with the harmonium music and with the spiritual energy embedded in it. So even if you're like working around the kitchen or something or washing the dishes, you've still got your mantras going, and it's reminding you to connect to spiritual energy. So it's kind of like spiritual medicine, and that's super helpful. So yeah.
Anyone else? Anybody else? Diane, come on, you have a question. Okay, hold on. I want to suck up all the Diane nuggets before you leave.
When my partner and I were in our early 20s, we went to the Zen Buddhist monastery at Mount Shasta, and that was, coming from Iowa, a really amazing weekend of meditation and cleaning up after yourself and being told, oh, you left something on the floor, go pick it up. And we were meditating longer than the monks. We had to get up earlier and sit longer. And there was a certain ritual to eating. We gashoed between every bite. And the upshot of it was when we got in our Forest Service camper pickup at the end of the weekend, we drove straight to McDonald's. Because we'd been eating out of a bowl for 3 days. But what we took with us was dishwashing and trying to meditate while we dishwash, and could really use some meditative music while we do the dishes. That's a spiritual practice that has stayed with us for probably 45 years. Our dishes aren't all that clean though, so we're still growing, learning about, yeah.
A lot of people do dishes just to get it done, as opposed to actually doing it as a meditative practice. So it's the mentality that you have while you're doing the practice. And as I said, the spiritual energy of the music itself in the background, it also helps too. It's just kind of a reminder, because it's easy for us to slip out of really concentrating on spiritual things when we've got so much to do, you know, because while you're washing your dishes, you're thinking about 5 other things that you need to do. So common. And I just love opportunities just to stop and be here and go within. To me, it's such a great reminder, because after, you know, the world can really take you away and we forget that mindfulness. So, but thank you for that. This is sweet sharing. Yeah.
Thank you, Brian. So let's read 681 together from Singing the Living Tradition. This will be a beautiful bookend to our morning. Deep peace of the running wave to you. Deep peace of the flowing air to you. Deep peace of the quiet earth to you. Deep peace of the shining stars to you. Deep peace of the infinite peace to you. What a beautiful. And we'll extinguish the chalice together. It is still burning. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Does anyone have an announcement other than what's on the back of your service already, and that we are meeting? Brian is hosting a gathering this evening at 4 o'clock, from 4 to 5:30. Depending on how many people, we might, if we can, be in the fireplace room, if it's small enough. But if it's big enough, we'll be in here. So I hope we'll see you then. Anyone else have a, yes? Janice, Frisch.
She's learning my name. If anybody needs to register to vote, these really practical things you see on TV all the time, I can help you register today if you have a name change or an address change. We're getting really close to the point where if you want to make a change, you're going to have to go to the city-county building, but I can do it for you today.
Thank you, Janice. What a beautiful service to offer. Anybody else? Announcement? Nope. Okay. And now the